Okay, hello everyone. We are live. I'm Gustavo from Placker, customer success, and thank you everybody for accepting the invite for being with us today. I'm very happy to share with you some tips of the Gantt chart that I believe will help you a lot in your projects. And so this is the first webinar that we do in a long time, but we plan to do many more about other features. If you can hear me well, please say hello in the chat and also mention where you're coming from. I see that we have people from all over the world here today. So thanks again for joining, and I hope you enjoy the webinar. All right, so to mention that the recording will also be available. So if you access the same link, you will be able to watch it again if you want, or if you want to send it to somebody from your team that you think will also benefit from using the Gantt charts, or if you have any friends that also would be interested, feel free to use the same link to get access to the recording. Also, this webinar is available in Portuguese and Spanish in case you are a Portuguese or Spanish speaker and you prefer to watch it in your own language. Let me know and I will send you the link. Okay? Well, the goal today is to show you how to use the Gantt charts to save time, avoid mistakes, and get work done so that you have consistent plans and schedules for your team. And this way you can avoid delays and be very consistent with a solid Gantt chart. All right, so a lot of people here joining. Hey, Mark, Jill, Melissa, Match, John. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we have many people here today that are new to the Gantt charts. Some people who are using other features in Placker. So I'll give you a brief overview of what the bar chart or the Gantt chart means. And also for you who are already using the Gantt chart, I will also show some of the advanced features. It's a good opportunity for you to let me know what is most important for you so I can focus on that. I can get into more details in the things that are more important. And also I'm going to show you, because we had a few changes in the menu since last week. So some of the buttons that used to be on the left sidebar are now here at the menu. I will make sure to clarify all of this as well, okay? So this is the Gantt chart that you get when you're using Placker. Many of our customers, they are also using Trello at the same time. So if you're using Trello, you can activate the Gantt chart by Placker power-up, or the projects by Placker also gives you access to the Gantt button. Import your board, and then you will have this button where you can open the Gantt view as a window inside Trello. And you can also, and what I recommend actually to do is to have a separate tab where you access placker.com, sign in with your Trello account, and then you also have the board view, which is quite similar to Trello, but then you have your full screen on the Gantt chart so you can see your schedule and you can plan your tasks better this way. Okay, so if you're using the power-up, I recommend using the separate tab at placker.com. It's much better to have more space to see your Gantt chart, okay? And what exactly is a Gantt chart? So it's this diagram where you can see the card dates exactly. So you have a list of cards at the left. I'm showing you an example of a project that has cards A, B, C, D, E, but it could be like software development projects, marketing, construction. We have all different industries using Placker. You have some columns here also to give you additional information, and then you have a timeline where you can see the dates. So for example, this board starts at June 12th and it goes all the way until July 8th. So you have the columns here representing the dates, and you have the bars showing exactly when cards start and end. So it's very it's a good way to see the project dates at a glance, and you can of course get into more details. You can visualize the checklist items. You can expand and collapse to see the whole lists. So many options that we're going to talk about in the next half an hour or so. Um, and also just to mention, in case somebody doesn't know, Placker also provides other features like card mirroring, like integration with Google Calendar. We also have the report view, which is it has a logic that is very similar to the Gantt chart. It pulls data in real time from Trello, and it gives you all sorts of charts and indicators. So also very interesting. We are probably going to do a webinar about the report view in the next few weeks. So keep an eye on your inbox, and we will send you the invite. Okay, so let's talk about the Gantt chart. So first thing to mention is that whenever you're using a Placker view, such as the board view, the Gantt view, or the report view, you can visualize one or multiple projects at the same time. So in this case, I'm seeing project 1, which is exactly the same board that I have in Trello. But if I have project 2, project 3, project 4, if you're working on many boards at the same time, it might be a good idea to click the scope bar here at the top, and then you can have a list of all your boards that are imported to Placker. You can select all the projects that you are working with, and you can visualize them all on the same screen. Okay, so this gives you an overview of everything that's going on in the company, which could be quite useful. Okay, first thing to mention. And by the way, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to send them in the chat. I will keep an eye here at the chat also, so I can clarify everything that you, if you want me to tell more details about any specific resource, um, just go ahead and type it in the chat. Okay. Okay, so yes, multiple boards in the Gantt view. Everything is synced in real time with Trello. It is very useful to see and to customize the Gantt chart so it looks exactly uh, to make more sense based on the analysis that you are currently doing. So in this case, I have the list of cards. I have a column showing the duration for each card. I can see how long it takes for each card to complete. I have a list, actually the initials of the members that are working on each card. Of course, if I wanted to see the details, I can always click and visualize the panel here at the right. I can change all the attributes here. But if you're just having an overview, then the columns are very useful. And you can customize the columns. So for example, if you want to see like if the card is completed or not, you can click this plus button next to the headers. And then you can select from the available attributes what you want to see. Like if you want to see the status or the progress of the card. If it's 100%, it means it's completed. If it's 0%, it's open usually. So you can see that. You can see the dates. If you want to see the dates in the columns, it's also possible. I don't really recommend this because you can also see the dates in the timeline, and it takes a lot of space, but it's something you can do. Okay, and yeah, and you can completely hide the columns if you want to just focus on the timeline. So these are some of the options here in the columns. And let's talk about the dates. So for each card, you can see when it starts, when it ends. Card A here, it starts on June 12th, ends on June 18th. This matches exactly the dates that are in Trello, and it's a two-way sync. So if you change something here, it will change in the Gantt chart, and you can change them also in the Gantt chart. I personally think this is faster. Like, let's say we have 1 day extra for this task, so it's going to finish on the June 19th. I can simply click and drag to make this card longer. and it reflects automatically in Trello. Okay, you can also move the whole task to the future, um, and everything will follow. So we have some successor cards here. I will talk more about that later, but uh, if the first card has a delay, all the other cards are going to move accordingly. Okay, so you need to finish one card to start the other. It's another interesting feature that you get from the power up. All right, so let me show you the options that you have to customize the Gantt chart and to have a better view uh, of your work. So basically, we have a menu here at the top. The button at the left is the filter. So if you want to show specific cards or hide specific cards, you can click filter and you can show. One thing that I like to use often is the overdue filter. So for example, if you have cards that are in the past, like they should have been done, but they are not marked as completed, and if you apply the overdue filter, you will only see those cards. So you can focus on the cards that are delayed, for example, and reschedule them or take any action. Fortunately, in this project, we don't have any cards like this. Uh, you can remove the filters, you can apply something else. Like for example, in this case, I have labels applied to the card. If you see the Trello board, we have cards with blue, green, yellow labels. So yeah, if you apply a label and see only the green cards, um, yeah, you can see here at the top that we have 3 total cards with the green label, and you can see those cards here. So that's the filter. You can also apply date filters, me/theme. If you want to visualize your own cards, you can click me and see only the cards that are assigned to yourself. And that's a good way of analyzing specific cards on the Gantt charts. So that's the filter. Um, Alternatively, what you can do is instead of filtering cards, you can change the way where cards are grouped on the board. So in this case, we have one list for each phase, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This reflects exactly the list that we have in Trello. But for example, if you're analyzing something else, like if you're analyzing the labels, or if you're analyzing the members, you're going to have a meeting with the members of your team and you want to assign and you want to talk about the cards that each member is going to have assigned to them. You can click layout. So layout, the first level is board, the second level is list. So I have a row here that shows project 1, and I have rows for each phase. If I don't want to see the phases, but I want to see the members, I can click member, and then I will see each member of the board and what are the cards that are assigned to them. And I can also see cards that are not assigned to anybody. So cards F and G in this case. If you click them and you see the members, they don't have any member assigned. They are probably never going to get done if they remain this way. So it's a good idea also to spot those unassigned cards and probably assign them to somebody else. Okay. So yeah, you also have other ways of visualizing your cards, and also many options here below. So related to the way that cards are grouped, that is the layout. If you want to see the unassigned cards, or if you want them to be hidden from the boards, if you want to see the checklist items or not, if you want to see the milestones or not, uh, the order where cards are shown. So all of these are options here under the layout dropdown. Okay. So these are some useful options. If you have any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, we are going to move on to the next topic, which is the planning. Okay, so if you click planning, there are some other options here. And this is directly related to how cards are scheduled in the timeline. So Specifically, we have the dependencies that could affect the other cards. Like, for example, I have cards D and E, if you can see here at the center of the Gantt chart. If I have a delay in card E, this means that card E is going to also have a delay, and this is called auto scheduling. So you can switch it off if you don't want those things to happen. Like if you want to have the dependencies so that it's visible if you depend on another card, but you don't necessarily want Placker to reschedule your cards automatically, you can click planning and disable auto scheduling. And you also have options for loose and strict auto scheduling. Strict means that, well, if it's loose, which is the default, and you finish a card earlier, so let's say I'm working on card D and my colleague is working on card E, and I finish card D before schedule, Placker will not necessarily pull the card E to start earlier. Okay, so this is not the default. But if you have planning auto scheduling strict enabled, then if whenever you finish earlier, so I finished card D earlier, this will make card E start earlier. So that's up to you if you want this to happen or not. So you can select auto scheduling loose or strict. Well, okay. We have another option here. So compare timelines. This is when you want to visualize not only the planned dates, but also the actual dates on the Gantt chart. So for example, we have card A here. And if you click card A, you will see that we have both planned dates and we have actual dates. So for example, in this card, I was planning to start this on June 17th, and I was planning to end on June 21st. But the actual dates are different. I actually started work on June 13th, and I ended work on June 19th. This means that this card started and ended before schedule, ahead of schedule. So if you click visibility, no, planning, yes, planning, and enable compare timelines, you will see those actual dates also visible in the Gantt chart. And it's visible as like a second bar. It's like a shadow of the blue bar, which is the planned dates. You can see the yellow bar, which is from the actual dates. So this is something we can see. You can also create a baseline, so you can compare different moments of your project. It's also an option here. And yeah, so these are basically the options that affect the scheduling. I showed you how to edit this in Placker. Let me show you also how to create dependencies. So for example, I have cards D and E here. They were already set, but if I let me remove this dependency so I can show you how to set new dependencies. So if I want to finish card D before I start working on card E, the way to do this is to hover the mouse over the bar D, click the circle, and drag it until card E. This will establish a dependency, okay? And this can be done either by Placker, like I just did, or it can also be done in Trello. So if you go to Trello, you click the card, you have the Placker power-up enabled there. You can see a list. So this card has two predecessors, B and C. It has one successor, which is E. So whenever I go to the Trello card, I can see that somebody else is depending on my work to be able to complete their task. In this case, it's task E, okay? You can click Add Dependency here at the right sidebar so you can add more predecessors and successors. Okay. Something else to mention, if you look at let's visualize the dependency between cards A and B, for example. So you finish card A on June 1st, which is a Friday. Placker by default is going to skip Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to resume work on Monday. So that's why there are 2 days off here, 22 and 23. If you want to customize this, it's also possible. You can click planning and you can click open calendar settings. So here you will open the board settings and you can select if Sundays and Saturdays are working days or not, number of hours by day. You can also add holidays if you have specific dates where there will not be any work. So for example, here in Brazil, November 15th is Independence Day, so this is a holiday for us. And actually, it's not Independence Day; it's a Republic Day. But anyway, so you can set all your holidays here, and then Placker will plan your work accordingly, so you don't have any surprises when you had work planned for a specific date, and then suddenly you're not able to complete it. Okay, so yes, those are the planning settings. Well, when I was looking, so when you signed up to the webinar, there was a question for each of you saying what are the most important things, what are the most important features for you at Placker, and I saw that many users replied that it's important for them to share their Gantt charts, their schedules with their clients or with their teams. So I will definitely show you how to do that. But before, let me show you how to customize this Gantt chart, because maybe the settings that I have here are not the same settings that are the best for you. So let me show you some visibility settings, some scale settings, so that we can show you how this works. Okay, so if you click visibility, then there are some options here. So we have the dependencies like we discussed before. So you have the dependencies. If you don't want to visualize the dependencies, like you want the dependencies to be there to affect your planning, but you want to share the Gantt chart with your team without the arrows to make it cleaner, you can click visibility and disable show dependencies, and then you don't see them anymore. That's an option. You also have the option of the critical path. So what this does is it marks the critical cards of your project in red. So it has a red border, and the cards that are not critical are not bordered in red. So for example, the card B, it's not critical. There is a whole theory behind the critical path that I would love to have more time to explain, but basically what it refers is that if a critical card has any delay, it directly affects the end date of your project. So let's see, the project ends on July 15th. Okay, if I take one of those critical cards, like card F, for example, it's critical. If I delay it one day, it has no slack in comparison to card G. So this means that I delayed the card one day, and the card G also delayed one day. So now it ends on July 16th. Okay, so this means that you should be very careful with cards that are critical, because if they are delayed, they might affect your whole project. But sometimes you have cards that are not critical, like card B, for example. Like if you have a delay in card B, this does not affect card G. So if you delay it one day, notice that it will remain on July 16th. I will delay it one day, and card G remains ending on July 16th. So it's not that you don't need to track those cards, but you have some slack there to work with. Okay, that's the concept of a critical path. And yeah, we have an interesting question here from Jill. So how do you indicate that a card is critical? So you indicate that a card is critical. This is done automatically by Placker. Okay, Jill. So in this case, we have both cards B and C affecting card D. So you need to finish both so that you can start card D. So if you don't finish card C, uh, it's critical, then it delays card D. But it doesn't matter if you finish card B before, for example. If you invest a lot of resources to finish card D as soon as possible, it will not give you any benefit, speaking of time, because you would have to still wait until card C ends. So Placker automatically calculates this and displays if the card is critical or not. Okay, so it's not something that you set if the card is critical or not, but it's something automatic. Okay, I hope I clarified your question. Um, and there's another question here from Mike. How do I create a milestone? Okay, so a milestone is also a very interesting topic here at Placker. So there are basically two types of milestone that two different things. One of them is when you mark a card as a Gantt milestone. Like for example, this card G. Let's say this is not actually a task. This is project and project delivery. So this is like the moment in time where you finish the project. Okay, this is the project delivery. Um, I can change the type of this task to become a Gantt milestone. What this does is it displays with a different shape, which is a diamond shape. Okay, so it's not exactly a task. It's rather a specific moment. So it's visible that in July, on July 17th, it's exactly when the project delivery date happens. So that's the Gantt milestone. But we have another type of milestone in Placker, which are like groups of cards. Let's put it this way. So you can open the board settings, you can create milestones. Like, for example, I could have a milestone card planning. I have a milestone called planning, and I can set when it starts, when it ends. Starts on May 2nd, and it ends on June 12th. That's when I'm planning the project. And you can visualize this if you want in your Gantt chart. So you can see here there's a little line here that says planning. It's a green line planning. This is when I completed the planning tasks. Okay. You can also see one a red line that says today. So May 16th, today. You can see this in the Gantt chart. It helps you visualize where you are at in the project. And of course, if you don't want to see the milestone markers, if you don't want to see the today line, you can click visibility and you can disable them if you like. Okay, so there are those two types of milestones. The purpose of them is more to help you visualize those things in the Gantt chart, parallel from the tasks. All right. Um, Visibility. Yeah, so another thing that I want to mention about the visibility is that you can change the color. So all the bars are blue here, but if you want to use colors to highlight something, like in Trello, I'm using labels, green, yellow. I can also click visibility and color by first label. So I color by label, and now I can see, depending on the label that I have, I can see the yellow and the green cards here. If this is helpful for you to highlight specific cards like important cards or tasks by department or any other way that you find useful in your project. Okay, so you can either color the cards automatically by setting color by label or by end date or whatever option you have, or you can also color them manually. So you can click cards one by one, like for example this card A is blue, but I want to so there's the option color here. I can set it to be orange, for example, could be. And I can also color one whole list. So I want this whole list to be purple. So you can also apply this automatically. Okay, question from Melissa. Is there a way to set the label order? Yes, there is. So, for example, yeah, if you click layout and set it by label, you will see that there's an order: black, then blue, then yellow, then sky, then lime, then green. If you want to change this order, I'm not sure if it's possible to drag and drop. Maybe it is. No, it's not. Okay, so you cannot drag and drop here, but you can click the board settings. Okay, let me show this again because this is important. You can click in the scope bar, you can see each of the projects that you have open. I have project one. I will click here and then I will click board settings. There are many options to explore here in the board settings. One of them is the labels. Um, and then you can create labels, you can remove labels, and you can also reorder them. So if I want black to be at the bottom, I can do that. I can put yellow to be first. So you can click and drag to reorder the labels. Okay. Same thing applies to members. You want to reorder the members. This affects the resource planner, for example. If you have multiple milestones, you can reorder the milestones. So this is done in the board settings. Okay, thank you for your question. And yeah, so these are the visibility options. Next to this, I also recommend to check out the scale. So this relates to the time scale. So for example, in this case, I have a short-term project. The tasks are very short. They take 3 days, 2 days, 4 days. But suppose I was working on a project that is very long, like the tasks take months to get completed, then the daily scale is probably the not the ideal scale for the level that I have on this project. So I would probably click scale and set the year scale. So the zoom by year. Okay. It's clearly not ideal here in this project because then the bars will be very small. But depending on the type of work that you're dealing with, it might be useful to change the scale. You can also change some things like to show the days off in gray if you want or not, to show the sprints. Every 2 weeks, you can see a sprint in the scale. So that might be useful depending on your case. Okay, so we have one more question. That's great. Can you remove the phase timeline from Gantt chart scheme so that you only see A, B, C, etc. in the overview? So the phase timeline, yeah, I suppose you refer to the levels, right? So first level is board, second level is list. What if I don't want to see phase one, phase two, phase three? So if you click layout, there are options here, level visibility. So let's see if this is possible. I'm not sure. Level visibility, show first level when empty, show second level when empty, show unassigned. Okay, so it's not possible to hide, but what you can do probably, yeah, what you can do, Lara, is to not have the second level. Okay, so the first level is board, second level is list, but I don't want to see the list. So you can click list and you can select no second level. So if you select no second level, then all the cards will be together here. So you don't have them split by list anymore. Okay. Um, and it looks a bit different now because all the cards are kind of scattered here. But I could also click layout and set the order to be by start date. Okay, so cards by start date. This will organize my tasks. Okay, so yes, you can do this. By the way, um, whenever you change something, like I just changed the to not show the list, and I want this to be the default. So the next time that I access the Gantt chart, I don't want to see the list ever again. So what I need to do is to click Save Changes, and then this will be applied the next time I access the Gantt chart. Okay, great. I'm loving the questions so far. All right, so before we export this to a PDF, for example, I want to show you the quickly show you the resource planner, because that's also a topic that would take a lot of time. But you can see that in the Gantt chart, by default, you will have an area below that shows you a list of the members, James, Karen, Robert, Susan, and we can see how many hours they are working each day. So for example, James is working 8 hours on June 14th, then 16 hours on June 17th. This is probably because there are two tasks simultaneously, and then 8 hours again. And after July 2nd, then he doesn't have any cards assigned to him, so he could be reassigned to another project or vacations, or we could adjust this. So it's very useful to see how many hours members are working, or if they are assigned to something or not, or if they are over allocated. In this case, when they are working on two cards at the same time, you could maybe reassign one of those cards to somebody else. So this is basically the resource planner, right? If you want to see what are those cards, so for example, James, um, if I put the mouse over the 16, I can see that the first task he's working on is task A, and the second task is A.1. It's the checklist item inside the card A, right? In this case, both of them are considered to the resource planner. If if card A doesn't really matter to me, I just want to see the checklist items, I can change this in the resource planning, right? So in this case, I'm considering both cards and checklist items. I could just see the cards, and then doesn't matter what are the topics. So I'm focusing only on the cards, or it could be just the checklist items. There's an option for that as well. So yeah, I think I will not spend a lot of time talking about the resource planner, also because not everybody is going to use this. And by the way, if you're not going to use the resource planner, you could as well disable it, and then you have more space for the timeline. But if you are interested in knowing more about the resource planner, we have an article about this in our help center. So if you go to help.placker.com and you search for resource planner, we have a very detailed article showing everything about this feature, all the options. So if you haven't checked out our resource help center yet, please make sure to go to help.placker.com, because we have a lot of interesting articles there. And if you want us to do a specific webinar all about the resource planner, let us know so we can plan something related to that. Okay. Yes, I think I have covered the most important features here in the Gantt chart. The only thing now is that if I want to send this to my colleagues so that they are also aware of the dates of the project schedule, the easiest way and the best way to do this is to click the link, so the URL at the browser. I can copy this and send to my teammates. If they have access to Placker, they will open this link, and they have access to the board, of course. They can open this link and they can see the timeline in real time. So this means that if there were any changes after I sent them the link, they will be visible for them. So that's why it's the best way to share it with other people. But alternatively, you can also click export, and you can generate a PDF file, PNG file, export to Excel, Microsoft Project. So if you click PDF, for example, you will generate a file, and you can print this file, or you can send it to anybody. Notice that This has all our settings applied. So the orange color that I put here in card A, it's here. And that's why it's important to take the time to customize your Gantt chart and make sure that everything looks good before you export and before you share it with somebody else. All right. Okay, guys. So I think those are the features that people most ask us about. So I hope I have showed you exactly how they work. Um, let's see if we have any more questions. Okay, so question from Ilan. The question is, if I want a specific task to add it to Google Calendar or to send a reminder email, is it possible? Um, yes, Ilan. We have one of the feature that Placker has next to Gantt chart, card mirroring, everything else, is the Google Calendar connection. So you can create the Google Calendar integration by going to the board settings, um, clicking connectors, connected calendars, and then you can, if you have your Google account already enabled, then it will be already available there. If not, you can connect your Google Calendar account first, and then this establishes a two-way sync between the Google Calendar and the board. Okay, so good news for the Placker subscribers. You have this, in case you didn't know, you have this included in your plan. And you can, there are many options here. So we might also do a webinar about Google Calendar. You asked if you can add a specific task to Google Calendar. So this will, by default, link all your tasks to Google from this board to your Google Calendar. You have the option to create only the cards assigned to yourself to Google Calendar, so you can kind of filter the cards. If not, then I would recommend, if you want, like, you only want one task to be in your Google Calendar, I would recommend to mirror this card to another board, and then you mirror the other board to your calendar. It's not possible to select which specific tasks are linked with Google Calendar. Okay. And you asked about reminder emails. What we do have in Placker are notifications. So you also have this in Trello if you're using Trello, but yeah, if you open your profile at the top right, then you can select in preferences. You can select if you want to be notified when there's a comment, when there's a change, when you're assigned to a card, things like that. So you have notifications, and you have the Google Calendar integration available. Okay, one more question. Let me go back to my board. Okay, another question from Lara. Is there no possibility to share real-time updates with clients? Well, Lara, you can, of course, if you add your client to your board, and if you add your client to Placker, then you can send them as usual the Placker link, and then you can they will see the board in real time. Okay, I understand that there are cases where you don't want the client to see everything that's happening on your boards. Like maybe you are collaborating with your team and you're adding comments, you're adding attachments to the cards, and you don't want the client to see those things. And and you only want them to see some tasks, or you just want them to see the milestones and not the tasks. Okay, so in cases like these, if you add the client to the board, unfortunately it's not possible to restrict access. They will see everything, but you could use our card mirroring feature. So you could create, so this is the, like, the internal board where the your team is working on, and it has everything. and then you create a separate board where you could call it like client board or something like that. You only mirror the cards that are relevant to the client, to that board, and then you add the client to that board and not to the complete board. So this way you could share only the selected updates to the client. Okay, so that's something you could do. All right. Well, let's see if we will have any additional questions. It's very interesting that you are interacting, and I can know what are the most important things to you. I'll be happy to answer to any other questions that you send today. Otherwise, you can also send your questions directly in the chat. So we have this button here at the lower right corner where you can see you can send us messages and we can talk in real time here at Placker. You also have links to the Help Center and the news. So it's very interesting to be updated with all the recent developments of the Placker development team. They are all available here at the news. And yeah, I think those are the most important topics for today. As I said before, feel free to send the link of this webinar to your team so that they are also learning more about Placker, about the Gantt charts. And I hope to see you all in the next webinars. Stay tuned for that. And thanks again for taking the time to be here with us today. Okay. Um, let's wait a few minutes if we have more questions. If not, I will see you the next time. Bye. Oh yeah, the poll. Yeah, Manuel. So for the users that were already using Placker before, we changed the menu. If you're a new user, then fortunately you are already learning with the new menu. Thank you all. Thanks, Jill, Manuel, Melissa, Lara, Ilan. Thanks for interacting today. See you in the next webinar. Have a good day, everyone.